picture, truly one of the most unusual ever filmed, contains scenes which, under no circumstances, should be viewed by anyone with a heart condition or anyone who is easily upset.
Meanwhile, the UN is warning the Israeli-Palestinian conflict could be headed for full-scale war. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem is urging staff to stay close to bomb shelters due to the threat of rocket attacks as the State Department tries to de-escalate the situation. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is there with the latest.
Overnight, the sky igniting with Israeli airstrikes and Hamas rocket fire. As Israeli warplanes howled over Gaza, this salvo of missiles ripping into this 14-story building, drone video flying over the debris fields. Israel said it was targeting Hamas infrastructure, but warned civilians before bombing. Palestinian health officials say over 80 people have been killed, including Hamas operatives, but also dozens of civilians and at least 17 children, nearly 500 wounded. Hamas has launched over 1,600 rockets towards Israel the past few days. Those rockets targeting the Tel Aviv metro area where nearly half of the population lives. A Palestinian rocket hitting this Israeli apartment building. Rescuers scrambling to get people out. Some brought out on stretchers. Those air raid sirens wailing almost hourly, including while we were on the air.
Another siren sounding, which means there's about a minute and 30 seconds before the rockets start falling. There they are. You can see some of it looks like Iron Dome. Projectile rising right above us,
and there is little sign of let up.
That they are not running out of rockets just yet. They have fired quite a lot of rockets, but unfortunately they've been able to stockpile a lot of rockets over the last years, so that is not the case.
Would you say there are thousands more?
I would say that there are thousands more.
The conflict also spreading to the West Bank, where Israeli troops clashed with Palestinian protesters. In the Israeli town of Lod, ethnic Palestinian citizens of Israel clashing with police, leaving dozens wounded. They say they are demonstrating against being treated as second-class citizens. And south of Tel Aviv, this horror. A mob of right-wing Jewish activists pulling a terrified Arab motorist out of his vehicle, even using an Israeli flag to beat him.
Reading from the Apocrypha. This was a part of the 1611 King James Bible. So I'm going to read from Baruch chapter 4, and I'll read 1 through 8. This is the book of the commandments of God, or the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. We are the day walkers. We are the ones that bring forth the truth, because it's our book, it's our history, it's our lineage, it's our heritage. Give not thy honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation, which means the other nations. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies.
God's blessing on you this morning. Yeah. You place your hand on this book and I'll pray for you.
For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, which means different idols, and not to the Most High. Ye have forgotten the everlasting God that brought you up out of where? Egypt, Mithraim. And ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. Okay, I'll read 9. For when she, which meaning Israel, saw the wrath of God coming upon you, she said, Hearken, O ye that dwell about Zion. The Most High has brought upon me great mourning. For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters with the everlasting brought upon them. Verse 25, my children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from God, for thy enemy has persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction and shalt tread upon his neck. My delicate ones have gone rough ways and were taken away as a flock caught of the enemies. 27, be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto the Most High, for ye shall be remembered of him that has brought these things upon you. For as it was in your mind to go astray from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. So we have to seek him 10 times, way beyond more, especially in these last days. 29, for he that has brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy again with your salvation. Okay. 32, miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. Okay. I will read 34 through 35. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall inhabit. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. Key word, Israel shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. Let that sink in. Now I'm at First Maccabees, around the time of Judas Maccabeus. Right here. Chapter 3, verse 41. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, who has the fame? The children of Yashar'EL, Israel, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
Tribes of Israel were black.
Let me repeat that. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
Let me just reveal some things. First of all, is that the Jews who were brought in Israel, most of them are white. Not most of them, almost all of them are white, including me. I was brought in Israel from a country which is called Bulgaria. It's a European country, and I can tell you that in every European country there are Jews, and there is so-called organization Jewish Agency, which is trying to take those Jews to Israel. If you track this organization, you can find out that this is not an Israeli organization. This is an American organization. Jewish Agency is an American organization which has the exclusive right to decide who is Jewish and who is not on this planet, and who to be taken to Israel and who's not. Now, if you do research, you will find out that in Africa, in Black Africa, they're looking for Jews only in Ethiopia. They bring Jews only from Ethiopia, and I can tell you by knowing a lot of people, Ethiopian Jews here in Israel, that they're treated very badly, very badly. And many of them commit suicide because they cannot take it. So they come from some place, Ethiopia, they don't have much there, but they live decent life. And when they come here and try to be humiliated and so on, some of them cannot even take it. Now, what I'm trying to say is that why from each white country this Jewish agency is trying to bring Jews, and when it's about Black Africa, they're going to Ethiopia, and this is where they stop. The only one place. Now, because of the same thing, they're trying to do the white supremacy here. They try to bring white guys here and to take the supremacy over Arabs, which are the local citizens, and over blacks, which are so far they're only the Ethiopian Jews. Now, what I'm trying also to say is that another question is why America needs Israel. In Israel there is no oil like in other Middle Eastern countries. There's nothing they can be attracted to. But why do they do all these things? Why do they invest money, bring white people and so on, when they build their system of white supremacy, just like in America they build in Israel? Why? And I can tell you why. Because the true Jews, according to the Bible, you can check it in the Bible, you can read Job 30:30.
It's supposed to be bad.
Then why do you use the word? Why call yourselves black? I mean, you people are more brown than black.
In some other places, they have never been white. They have been people of color. And they have not stopped in Ethiopia. They were in Ethiopia, Sudan, and they have settled in West Africa. From West Africa, they have been taken as slaves to America. Brothers and sisters, blacks of America, it's you. You are the true Hebrews. You are the true Hebrews from the Bible.
Because you've got to understand, the regal class of the house of Judah came down from Israel, and they came into the land of the black Africans. And the black Africans resented the regal class of the house of Judah in their land, because they had laws, they had customs, they had civility. And they were a regal class of Negro that came down into Africa. And later on, it was the Ashkenazi, the Islamic slave traders as well, that then worked together with the indigenous black Africans to enslave the regal house of Judah. This is what we've got to understand, but you've got to go back before the 16th century to understand the roots of it.
America gonna do everything, gonna invest as much money as it has, gonna fight as much wars as they can, gonna invite as much weapons as they can, just to hide this away from you. Gonna take Israel, gonna bring white people here and to tell you these are the Jews, gonna kill you, gonna kill Arabs, gonna mistreat white people like this guy, just to tell you this lie, that you are nobody and we are the Jews with all the history and so on. It has been deleted, your history. You don't know who you are. Don't forget about it. This is why America has been taking your history away, never to find out that it's all about you. I'm telling you this, please. I don't ask you to come to Israel and to start a revolution. I'm just asking you to start thinking this way, to believe me a little bit, because I'm living in Israel and I'm part of this injustice. I really believe that people like me and you, we can bring the justice back.
We were talking about the book, The Zionist Movement. We was talking about the history of the original Jews, and John here has some history that most people don't know. And what was that history you said? Tell me what you just said again. I gotta get on camera.
There's only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they were Africans.
What? Was he African?
African.
No. He was American, and he was like you. He looked just like you.
He's Jewish.
Just like you.
Jew. Okay. It's an odd crime for a Jew.
Yeah, pretty docile. And if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise. From Russia.
And would you learn that history?
I learned it from my grandfather that because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
Now, if I were to tell you that blacks, for as many centuries as whites have been superior, if you want, in the Western world, that for just as many centuries blacks were superior, you'd probably find that hard to believe. And you'd wonder how such a fact could be hidden. And the answer is, again, collusion. The whites wouldn't want to admit such a thing, because whites like to feel superior and like to think that their superiority is somehow permanent, decreed by God. As for blacks, if you look into the black civilizations that we're going to take a look at momentarily, you find something pretty interesting. You find that those civilizations actually arose as Jewish civilizations,